You're listening to In the Lead, the podcast for real estate pros looking to grow their business. Whether you're new to the business or a seasoned pro, we come to you each week with the latest technology and online strategies to help you sell more, work less, and make a difference in your community through your real estate business. This show is brought to you by EasyAgentPro, creators of Lead Sites, the ultimate lead generation website for agents. For show notes and links, check out EasyAgentPro/podcast.
Good afternoon, good evening, and good morning, EA peers, wherever you guys are at. You are listening to the In the Lead podcast, and we have a very special guest today that we'll start off with and make him unmute himself right away. We have Chris Tenowitz, one of the support specialists, life coach, everything you can think of. He is one of our EAP gurus, so he's sitting in with us because we have a special podcast episode. How you doing, Chris?
How's everybody doing out there? Doing well today. Thank
Excellent.
you very much, Chris.
So excited to have you.
Yeah, it's good to be here.
The legend. So we're going to make sure that it's super confusing for you guys because there's two Chris's, the host and Chris 2.0. So it'll be really fun to try and talk about that today. We also have sitting in, you already heard their voices, we've got Kelvin sitting in with us, the marketing guru. How you doing today?
Doing good, man. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Nice hat. You're inside.
Thanks,
He's got
buddy.
a hat on. He's wearing a hat inside. So that's happening. And then you heard the laugh from Mr. Robert. How you doing today?
Hey guys, glad to be here.
Yeah, he always is. How you feeling, by the way? I heard you got sick. We kind of
Yeah.
made fun of you on the last podcast.
I think Kelvin had a little
Dude,
bit of it too. We're
I
like,
did, man.
you got to watch out in those New York airports. There's too much going on.
Yeah.
Is that what it was?
That's my guess. Unless it was the
Probably, man.
ramen.
Someone was hacking up a
Think
lung
so?
on the plane.
On
No
the
way.
plane, the steel tube in the sky.
No way it was the ramen.
And then we have somebody waiting, itching. I can see him bouncing in his chair. He wants to talk so bad. We've got Tyler as well.
Hey, thanks for stopping by the show, guys.
With that said, we're just going to jump right into it today. We only had one decent question, and that's good anyways because this is a very special podcast episode about Inman. Beat Zillow had one question. It's very vague, but I figured we'd still kind of dive into it. Tyler already put in his 2 cents before we started recording. Kathy Hughes said, "Hi there, I'd like to know more about creating ebooks. Thanks." So that's the question. If you guys want to dive in, Tyler, go ahead and talk since you said don't. So I'm curious what you have to say about it.
Yeah, well, I think we had a podcast. You should go check out Onion Juice. It's another real estate podcast. We actually sponsor them. And I was on that show yesterday talking with Neil about Facebook ads. And one of the interesting things is that I think a lot of agents try to do Facebook ads. They try to do a lot of things. And instead of focusing on one way to be successful with it, they try like the newest thing they heard that they should be doing. So ebooks are a great way to get emails. They're also a great way to get leads, but they're not the only way. So I would go out there, watch one of our case studies on a way that you were able to generate leads and copy one of those. If you want to make ebooks, just, open up PowerPoint and make them a way. But in terms of like the first thing you should be doing with Facebook ads, I really don't think that's the case.
Fantastic. Kelvin, you want to chime in on that? I know that you're an ebook master. You actually created a Facebook ebook.
Yeah, the Facebook ebook was just over like 40 pages. So I agree with the strategy on Tyler. If you are going to make an ebook, if you have a Mac, Keynote is amazing. If you're on Windows, then you can do a PowerPoint, save it as a PDF or Google Slides. And then like Karen actually chimed in on the post there, you can go to Canva and create the cover of your ebook and you're good to go. But I agree with Tyler, actually. I don't think ebooks would be the first thing you should be doing if that's for your ad strategy. If you've got a fairly diverse ad strategy and you want to implement something else to kind of round it out, then by all means try ebooks because it worked really well for us getting people into the newsletter and helping us convert people in the long run down the line. But there are other strategies that are going to be more effective for the short term.
Yeah, just it's really important to note that an ebook attracts a specific type of lead, and it's not a lead that is exactly looking to buy a house right now. It's probably more likely someone in the future and someone that's just kind of saw something on Facebook. It's a good way to introduce yourself to them and them to your brand. So I think it's just important to kind of have your expectations set for the right outcome when you're going to go create an ebook, because it's not necessarily going to get you a bunch of hot buyers, like say like a foreclosure list ad or something like that we've been seeing have a lot of success lately. It's probably going to be someone who you're going to add to your CRM and be able to kind of nurture over the next 1 to 2 years until the time is right, and they may or may not remember you.
Yeah, it's all about those expectations you have from the campaign, like Robert said. So if I would ask like how you make it, like you make it with PowerPoint, but you should really check yourself and figure out what you're trying to get from this so that you don't get upset at the ebook marketing angle when you get the results that you get, right? Because it's part of a healthy funnel. So you got to start thinking of your business as a funnel, and every strategy you hear, when we just went to Inman there, you heard like 30 strategies. Every strategy you hear works. Every strategy you hear can be put into your business. You just got to think of your business as like the Parthenon. I think Tony Robbins made that example once or something, where you have 30 to 60 columns, and each of those columns is a strategy. Ebooks can be one of those strategies. I probably wouldn't lead with it if you're new to Facebook ads.
I think that's fantastic advice. Well, let me ask you this, since we're on the subject, what type of content would you add into an ebook? What would be like a decent ebook strategy or idea?
So one thing I actually posted on there was a link to the free ebook that we offer a lot of lead site users, and that's basically something geared towards sellers. And that's actually had some success. It's been up and down for some agents depending on what their market is, but it's actually done really well at actually getting people some contact information. So I think you can do something specifically for sellers. I think you can do something more local. I would even equate it to something like what Chase Binney did with
Kelvin. You've run a lot of ads now with us, right?
Yeah.
What are the two things that matter most with all of our ads? We've ran like 5,000 ads. What are the two things?
The angle and
the audience.
Lookalikes.
So like, who are you running it to, and what's the angle on the content? And you've got to match those two things up, because we've run ebooks to the wrong audience and got, was it $14 leads for that one,
yes.
Kelvin? $14 emails, right? And then we changed the audience for that, and we got $3 leads the next day. So you've got to find the angle and then match it to your audience.
And then instead of trying to use ebooks to attract leads, why don't you use them to build value with your current leads? Like, someone signs up to your site and you're trying to convince them that you're an expert, that you know what you're doing. What better way is there than sending them a bunch of well-made resources right
Exactly.
to their email?
That's what I was thinking about was, maybe in the middle or towards the bottom of the funnel. This is more of an educational resource than actually a way to generate a lead, right? I know, like, working in support, and I'm sure Chris can attest to this as well, that ebook about Facebook that Kelvin created, I mean, I use that now as a resource more than anything, because people are always asking us questions about how to run an advertisement properly on Facebook. And that's what we use it for. Hey, check this ebook out. This is going to help you with a step-by-step guide on how to advertise properly on Facebook.
Yeah, and to Tyler's point, audiences are extremely important. So what you could do is actually, I think Tyler talked a lot about creating lookalike audiences on the last podcast, is you could do something like export all the contacts you have in your CRM and upload that to Facebook and create a lookalike audience and create an ebook ad or any other ad basically for those specific people.
Right, and so we talked about the angle and the audience. So let's say you do what Kelvin just said about the lookalike audience of people that have already done business with you. And then since you've already done business with those people, you know the questions they have about buying and selling the house. So when it comes to making that ebook, make it about the 5 questions that you're always asked by every one of your buyers, and then run that tested angle against that tested audience, and you'll probably get pretty good results with it.
Boom.
Yeah.
I think that was it. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Didn't mean to cut you off.
Don't apologize.
But
don't apologize.
I think, so you always have to look at marketing as a long-term activity. It's not like, am I going to make an ebook today that's just going to set me for life and I can just keep sharing with people? It's not really how it is. If you like making ebooks and you can make good ebooks, then you should look at it as a long-term value add. So if one ebook is worth 5 points, What happens when you have 20 ebooks put together on a resource page? You now have 100 points on one page, and it's something way more attractive. You don't have so much pressure for one ebook to perform, but it's something like we found successful with EasyAgentPro is to create an ebooks page and then have all the ebooks on one page. So now it went from being an ebook to being a resources page where
an e-library.
Right? And now you have a bunch of different stuff to share. You can say,
which then in addition to getting you those paid leads, it gets you like organic people and builds trust and flushes out that middle of the funnel, like we started the whole conversation.
And chances are someone who wants to download one ebook wouldn't mind expanding and getting a second one. You know, they're like, well, actually I have questions about selling too. I have questions about increasing my home's value. I have questions about this.
Which is the problem. All agents think of them as buyers and sellers, but like the real like truth of that is everyone when they're selling is also a buyer.
Yep. And trying to and a home improvement person, because they're trying to increase the value of their home and do all kinds of stuff. They're juggling a lot of stuff, and there's a lot. I think we overestimate how much the average person knows about everything. So there's like you can be really thorough on some stuff and actually provide a meaningful input for them on their journey.
And there's also to what Robert was saying about marketing. It's that I think it was 4 podcasts ago where we talked about marketing versus sales. And so ebooks is probably one of those tactics that fits, like if you have a spectrum there from left to right, it's probably sitting a little bit closer to marketing than it is to sales. So you're getting people into an email list that you can then upload into BombBomb or MailChimp or Contactually or all these different CRMs and email providers. And then you can send them an email every week with updates on the market, with updates on what you're doing to help your community with interesting stuff, and then convert them down the line. It's a bit closer to marketing than it is to full-fledged sales, but you need it because, like Robert was saying with that library page, it helps convert the sales-worthy leads. It helps build that trust easier.
Boom. Well, hot diggity dang.
Awesome.
I feel like that was a 101 crash course into ebooks and the do's and don'ts and how valuable they are. So that's fantastic. Hopefully we answered your question, Kathy. Now I just want to get into it. You guys were at Inman. I'm still super bitter about it. I'm sure you guys heard me getting pissed off and mad last podcast. Let's talk about it. I want to know right up front, specifically when you guys were there, what did you expect? Like Kelvin, what did you expect when you got there? What was the thing that you were really thinking was going to happen when you got there?
You know, I don't know. It was like 12 hours of travel. So I was pretty exhausted when I got there.
It was for the video.
I'm sorry. I had to give him I had to do that. I wasn't sure, actually. I was really, really excited. There was an app that we basically started posting to that Inman gave us. So we were already trying to interact with people.
That was really
yeah, we were doing everything we could to get ourselves pushed up the list on the app there, but we were trying to engage with people right out of the door. So I really wasn't sure what to expect when we first landed.
That's fantastic. What about you, Tyler? I remember vaguely having several conversations with you that you were a little hesitant to be doing this, to be putting EAP out there at Inman. Why was that? And why did you change?
So it goes back to my core belief, which is focus. I talk about it probably way too much, but we like to focus on EasyAgentPro like one thing at a time. And the thing that you can get really, really screwed up with in your business is trying to do too much at once and not actually doing things effectively. And so for us, we were so focused on building these internal systems and these internal these flow throughs and checks and processes,
Chris,
and then
Chris
tracking
can attest
with
to that for sure, right, Chris?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, with our ads and everything. That this was a little bit of a breather or a distraction from us, but it ended up being a pretty positive one. We found it very useful taking over the hashtags on Twitter, taking over the Inman app with a lot of comments and uploads. We set up some Facebook ads, geo-targeting people at the conference who are real estate agents in that half-mile radius, generated some leads that way. And it was an interesting experience. But if you're an agent sitting there wondering, should I go to Inman, should I not? I think the first question you have to answer is, what's your goal and what are you doing to get there? Because going to this conference is just going to give you like 30 ideas of things to implement. And if you don't have that clear in your head before you go there, you're going to leave and just like be moving in a million directions, but not actually moving forward in your business.
Speaking of goals, Robert, did you have any goals when you got there, or did you just land there on a whim and just kind of let the week take you guys?
No, so my attitude is we're an internet-based company. We do everything on the internet. So getting to hang out with 1,000+ agents in one room was just the coolest thing ever. As a marketer, you make assumptions, and this is important in real estate too. You put a buyer or seller tag on every single person you meet and try to see where they fit. And they're not leads, they're people. So when you get to actually consider, you get to see what agents are actually saying, how they respond to topics. It was just like a giant data center for me. I was just kind of in awe at some of the talks were pretty like baby marketing. There's a concept that they dragged on for 20 minutes, be authentic and all this kind of stuff. And it's just really interesting to see kind of where everyone's at in their marketing process. And literally when Kelvin puts a camera in their face, what did you enjoy? It's pretty awesome to just see that much feedback in one room so fast. And,
right.
And that goes for competitors. That goes for other people in the other tech companies in the space. We got to hang out with some big data guys. You got to see Matterport's full 3D camera. So it's really cool to
How was the 3D camera? Pretty cool.
It's pretty awesome. It's like Google Cardboard meets Matterport. So you can you can move your head around in it and kind of, I think that was one of our hot topics of the trip. Basically, do you think 3D video is going to take over? Will it be on IDX?
Let's talk about that. Why don't we talk about that? Let's talk about 3D video. That was something that I kind of prepped when my idea was when I found out about Inman, 4 months ago, one of the podcast topics that I was setting up for was 3D video. Huge thing, right? It's a big deal. What do you think about it? I'm curious.
I think 3D video, I don't think it's there yet. I'll start with that. But I see it as becoming just another thing to add value to an IDX listing. Right now, standard IDX, you go on there, you have a carousel of 7 images that are probably, some are professionally taken, some you can tell are just with a, kind of run of the mill camera, and someone went in there and shot some pictures. And I think my theory is that you can actually get better leads if you give them more information. So if you're more forthcoming about things and someone can actually go tour a house and find the thing that they don't like, I hate these blinds everywhere. I hate how this whole thing is set up. I hate this and that. Then I think it saves an agent a trip out to a house, and it helps them when they actually do go visit one, probably be more accurate with their search.
Absolutely. And aside from Chris, I guess the 4 of us, we're all huge gamers, so we're pretty familiar with 3D gaming and the 3D technology incorporated in there. Kelvin actually got to meet a dude who worked on Destiny.
Yeah, you saw that in the video.
He's had his experience working in the gaming industry. He's able to correlate 3D virtual reality with gaming and now real estate. So I'm really curious what you think about it as well. What makes 3D such a hot topic? Robert, I kind of agree with Robert. I don't think the technology is there yet. So why is this such a hot topic all of a sudden?
I don't think it's there yet either. I really think it's because of the potential that it has. I think there's a huge amount of potential in 3D. It's really not evolved to the point where it needs to be yet. And so that's why we were actually talking about drone video as well. I think drone video is currently going to be one of the dominant forms of media for real estate, and will be so until 3D gets to where it needs to be. And then the two of them together will just be the main influencing factor for narrowing in on, a higher quality of lead and a higher quality of buyer. And that was basically a lot of the argument that we had when we were out there.
All right. Yeah, very cool. Tyler, what did you think about the 3D video? Did you get an opportunity to check it out?
Yeah, well, it's Google Maps, right? It does exist, like Google Maps Street View. That's where it's at right now. And how useful is that? Like,
man.
But seriously, it's not. That's it. That's 3D technology that you can walk up to a house on the street. And is it useful? Does it help you? Yeah, a little bit. Is it there yet? No. So right now, drones, 3D, you name it, it's a great marketing tool to get more listings. And that's about where it will probably stop until this stuff gets more widely adapted. in its current state and form, will it help you sell homes faster and for more money? Maybe.
I don't think about
for
I
high
wouldn't
listings.
say for more money. I would say it helps sell faster.
Maybe, yeah, maybe. And that's the argument that has to play out in real life, in order for it to be fully adopted. But right now, if you're a listing agent and you don't buy like a $350 Phantom drone and incorporate that into your videos,
Okay, so with that said, we're talking about 3D footage. We're talking about drones. I want to know more about the drone footage that you guys shot. I want to know, how difficult it was to actually fly a drone in between a bunch of buildings and if I haven't had the opportunity to mess around with a drone, and I'm sure a lot of agents haven't had the opportunity to. So what do you guys think about the drone footage and all that?
It's surprisingly easy, actually. It gets a little harder when you're returning the drone home, it starts beeping. So I got a little panicked when Tyler started freaking out because my phone's beeping when the drone's returning. He's like, Kelvin, shut that off, shut it off. And I was like, guys, I can't. The drone's, I don't know what to do right now.
Yeah.
But the video going up today actually has more drone footage, which is really, really cool. One of our clients, actually, Kai, was there with us when we were flying the drone. So that was a lot of fun.
Fantastic. And
What do you think for agents, Kelvin? What would you do if you were an agent trying to grow your business with a
I would
drone?
definitely get a drone. Especially if you can get one like you did. You got the refurbished one for only $350. That's a great deal. Especially because I know people in town.
Yeah, that's the Phantom 3 standard. It's $350 right now on DJI. It basically has a 2.7K camera, which is better than HD. And you can with that, you can fly in most cities legally and get images. Some cities you need to get a license, but that license is only $100 or so, and it's like couple questions you have to answer. So in terms of like what you can do with a drone to increase the value for a seller to get a listing, it's pretty reasonable right now for under, let's say, $750 to get a great drone to add and make better videos to get a listing.
Yeah, I completely agree. And new models are being released this year, and the price of previous generation drones are going to continue to drop.
Right.
And the market for there's a lot of agents even here in Albuquerque there's only like 3 people that offer drone services, and it's very expensive. And I think,
how much on average are you talking? Have you looked up the prices by chance?
yeah, so my mom and my grandmother are both agents here in Albuquerque, and my grandmother has used somebody, and it was about $400 for him to actually go do drone footage, edit it together, and then also do some footage of the house inside as well, and then get it to her. And you could cut that expense off right away by getting a drone. The first house you do that with, you're going to completely get your money back.
Right. Interesting. Very, very cool. Yeah. Well, the thing with it too, and Tyler's right. Like how would you optimize it? And so it seems like it would be a really good investment for an individual to purchase a drone because it's cheap. What are some of the cons with it though? I'm curious if there is any problems with it. Battery life seems to be one, right?
They have 25-minute battery life. That's good enough to get footage for a house. Like you probably need 10 seconds of drone footage for a house.
Took a couple. You can only take it on like 2 or 3 minute flights, anyways. Really,
right?
It's like,
but you were at the drone racing league. You guys weren't at Inman. Kelvin was flying. You guys were his pit crew. You guys were making it happen. I know what you guys were really doing.
I almost got my finger chopped off.
Yeah.
Don't ever touch a propeller.
I was really scared, man.
Did you really?
Dude. We couldn't get the stabilizer to work, so I was like, I'll just hold it off this ledge, and then he took it off and it just bit my finger. I legit thought my finger was gonna fall off. It hurt so bad, and no blood though, so at least they're safe. Safe as can be.
I don't know if I was Kelvin, there would be something in my pants when you said, "I'll just hold this over the ledge, like it's just gonna fly itself." I don't know, man. It's cool. The drone footage is really cool. Let's get back to Inman. Let's talk about Inman more. Was there any cons about the conference that you thought, maybe this might not be a good investment for agents? Maybe this might not be a good investment for people who are using, websites and stuff like that.
I mean, not necessarily a bad thing. The conference, there was a lot of really good things. I just wish there would have been a little bit more, some more actionable takeaways for agents. I think they all really enjoyed a lot of the talks that were there, but I felt like there wasn't enough actionable takeaway for agents.
Yeah, there wasn't meat. It was a lot of philosophy, which we got away from in our videos and our blogs. We tried to really sink our teeth into actionable things that you can improve in your business today. And I think that's what was a little bit missing from several of the presentations. So if you're thinking of going there, I think you just got to figure out why. If it's networking, then it might be worth it to like brush shoulders with one person in each state and grow your referral market.
We just had a NASCAR drive through the.
That was me. Sorry about that.
No, it's okay. Don't worry about it. Speaking of presentations, was there one that really stood out to you guys that you really, really enjoyed or even hated? Was there one that you had to walk out 5 minutes into it and couldn't handle it?
I think we all liked Frederick's presentation a lot. He was one of my favorites.
And what was the presentation about?
Just his whole story. And it was just enjoyable to see how comfortable he was up on stage, giving the entire recap of how he made it into real estate and starting his show $1 Million Listing and what grew his business and basically all the challenges that he's had to overcome since then. So it was really cool listening to him talk. I really enjoyed that.
It's very authentic talk, very real. Sometimes you listen to people and it's how like, all the success and none of the pain to get there, and that's just not life. That's not real life. That's not how business works. That's not how marketing works. You're gonna have dud. We had a campaign while we were at Inman that was getting $65 leads, and it's not gonna ever ROI for us, right? Like we fail. We fail all the time.
Was that the
with
one
our
that was
ads.
on the
We
video
fail all
by
the time
chance?
with our blogs? No, that was a
Okay.
different one. I can look it up while someone else is talking. But we learned from it. We learned 3 key takeaways from it, and then like literally yesterday or a couple days ago, we launched another campaign on Facebook, and it's literally getting us $6 leads with the same angle, right? So we drink our own medicine. We iterate on this stuff, and that's how we get better.
That's fantastic. All right, so Inman seems like it was mostly a success. With that said, I hope everybody can see the videos. I will be more than happy to link them at the bottom of the podcast. I want to talk about after hours. It looks like you guys had a fantastic time bowling with, was it HubSpot or BombBomb?
That was BombBomb and Boomtown.
Okay. So you guys partied pretty hard with BombBomb and Boomtown, huh? How was that?
Robert, you want to take this one?
Yeah, take it. Robert's the one who really wanted to go. I'm having the assumption.
Oh no, we had a good time. We were hanging out with some like big data guys. You're just again hanging out with like vendors and people that are there, and it's just really cool to meet those guys in person and kind of see, like we're hanging out with like, when else are you hanging out with someone who's built a chatbot that does smart IDX selection with at BombBomb's party, at Boomtown party, and then with a bunch of other agents. So it was pretty dang cool to kind of go check it out. They throw a good party, so that was fun. Just hanging out with a bunch of agents and just like seeing, it's really cool because everyone has their big concept to how they're going to change the industry. And that's what I find the most interesting, because you get to see all this stuff that's in its infancy that is probably going to be here, 1 year from now, 2 years, 5 years, and it'll be more relevant. But it's like the birth of it. And drinking beers and eating pizza with those guys is pretty fun.
Fantastic. And I also heard that you guys ate pho with Chris, our support agent.
Yes, we all met up. We had some delightful pho over in Manhattan in Hell's Kitchen. It was absolutely wonderful.
Hell's Kitchen, Gordon Ramsay's place?
Ty was
exactly what
convinced
Ty
that
said,
Hell's
man.
Kitchen was started by Gordon Ramsay.
It was, wasn't it? Isn't that like? Doesn't he have a thing in Vegas? We should get him on the show.
He has a show.
He has a show called.
Yeah.
No, I'm like 90% sure that he has his own. Like one of his restaurants is called Hell's Kitchen. I'm like 90% sure.
I would believe
Call
that.
me.
I believe
I
that.
can't imagine the food is that good at a place called Hell's Kitchen.
The
yeah,
pho
it
was
was-
good. It was good.
The pho was fantastic. The company was fantastic. It was really great to meet up with the guys and get some FaceTime in. So,
You had never met Tyler, right?
Yeah, yes.
You thought he was a myth like everybody else.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I thought Tyler was maybe a hologram or an avatar. Created by somebody else. It's a little inside baseball for you guys. We work remotely, so sometimes we don't get to see each other for long periods of time. So it was really great to get that in.
Yeah, definitely.
And Chris was out there in New York recording an album with his
Yes,
band. So
in my
sweet.
non-support life, I'm a real rocker. So I was out in New York living my other life at the time.
You get to chat with a rock
Yeah,
star,
exactly.
9 to 5, Monday through Friday.
Only then.
That's what I tell a lot of people in support. Where's Chris at? And I'd tell them, and they would lose their mind. They thought that it was the coolest thing.
Oh, wow. Well, they all probably have my cell phone number, so they could have called me. So.
Oh, how nice. Well, they didn't.
Autographs if you guys want them. Just let us know.
With that said, it sounds like Inman was a huge success. What about, Robert or Tyler? Was there a specific takeaway that you got from this, a specific presentation that really grabbed you guys and made you want to either rethink about anything or,
like nothing like just explode your mind, but like when you're seeing top agents talk about what they do and simplify it, it's just awesome. There's no really secret sauce. These guys are dedicated. They follow their marketing plan and they do it on a daily basis every day, no matter what. Mike Meyer was one of my favorite talks, and his basic thing was like, you got to incorporate your family into your business. So instead of like just being one of those agents that post every new listing on Facebook, and that's what your Facebook consists of, you have to find the balance between inserting like, hey, this is my dog. I'm out here sitting here on, at this lake in this neighborhood. We know everything about it. That's why, we live here. Like, call us if you're looking to move here. And he just so like simply just inserts like, personality and authenticity into his Facebook, and because of it just gets all these referrals for random reasons, and he doesn't even know why. So like he's telling you like, make a catchy title, use a personal image, and like write a nice post, and which isn't like that's just you're not gonna go like write that down and be like, oh man, I learned so much. But when you get to see it in action and see his post, and he's like, check this out, like I literally sold a house from this post, and they're not like, get the seller guide to getting to, like, it's just not these like crazy things. It's a lot more simple. And sometimes as marketers, we kind of complicate those things.
Well, that's our job, right?
And that's the beauty of living in 2017 is that you have podcasts, you have YouTube videos, and you have successful people doing those things. So if you were living like even 5 years ago, this didn't exist. All these media empires have been sort of crushed by the people just having cameras by themselves. We have a drone flying over, areas that before those were invented 3-4 years ago, it would have cost like tens of thousands of dollars to fly a helicopter with a gimbal to get a decent shot of the skyline of New York, right? It's all been equalized, and that's given you like so much opportunity if you're sitting there in like a 10,000 population town in the middle of Iowa to literally listen to multi-million-dollar producers tell you exactly what they do. And that's your opportunity to seize. You can seize that or you cannot, but like it's a fantastic time to be in real estate.
And then that one guy from Texas, he literally starts it off with, I live in I got voted the most average town in America. So like our average listing price is like 150 to 200. And he's just like, we're just average.
And he's on stage telling you exactly what he does. There's probably a video of it on YouTube. You can tweet him, you can email him, you can call him. And there's probably a blog that interviewed him like on 7 different YouTube
and
channels,
his team did 420 homes last year. It's like mind blowing.
And you can talk to him. It's a crazy time to be an agent.
It's just like, and these guys,
there are no secrets
I think the
anymore.
biggest agent benefit we kind of heard was just connections. You're meeting people, you're absorbing their marketing tips, what works, and then you also have referral partners. So from an agent perspective, it's a pretty good deal. But from a how-to perspective, I think you get better information on our blog.
What
shameless promo.
One thing that I'm taking away from what you said earlier was, this person sits there and says that, it may seem like this is really difficult stuff to do, advertising on Facebook, finding the right audience, doing all this stuff. But what I'm taking away from it is just, if you dumb it down, if you make it as simple as possible, it's easy. And it makes the other person feel like it's easy, and therefore you will have success. So that's what I'm taking away from this. And that I never...
After failing a few times,
failure. And we've made that.
You've got to try.
We've made that very clear too, right? Like for every 1 or 2 successful advertising campaigns we've done, we've had 3 or 4 that failed miserably. A $69 lead or $69 click versus what, $6? That's a huge difference, right? You got to learn from it. But it seems like
those were leads. Not
I'm
clicks,
sorry. Yeah. It just seems like to me that if you dumb it down and make it simple, and I don't want to use this word. I hate using this word, but like clickbaity almost. Chase Binney did it, right? Here's a squeeze page I created with the top 10 Christmas lights in town. It's not even real estate related. And he had 100 leads for the month of December. That type of
And
stuff.
I wouldn't even call that clickbaity. I would call that relevant to your town, being personal, authentic. Like, I'm not a dude who just sells houses. I also go look at Christmas lights. I have a great time in Christmas in our town. Here's my family and me going to do that. It inserts like a whole slew of things that you can talk about that are non-real estate, but that also promote trust and authenticity.
Right.
It's like,
hence why I said I hate the word clickbaity, but that's all I could come up with. What about you, Tyler? There's got to be one that you sat in and you thought this was pretty cool.
Ty, what was the one?
I would challenge what you said earlier about easy, because literally every example we talked about on this podcast was prefaced by saying the guy Robert just talked about, who lives in the average town in Texas and now sells 400 homes. He talked about how he almost had a emotional mental breakdown because he worked himself to the bone and then had to find a way through tools and tactics to make it simpler. And so anytime you're starting a business, it is not easy. You have to crawl over glass until you succeed, and then you've got to figure out how to constantly make it better. The thing I'm telling you is that it's easier than ever to get the information so that you know exactly what to do. But when you're starting out, it's still going to be confusing as heck, and you're probably going to fail. But you have these tools where it would have taken you like 2-3 times as longer because you had no idea what the path even was. Now you have these tools to tell you at least what path you should be walking on. So I would, if you're sitting there struggling, if you're sitting there struggling, like you're fine, right? Just keep pushing on. It's not easy. It's not easy to sell 400 houses. This guy's up there telling you it's not. Like, that's the biggest takeaway from me. Anyone that's sitting there saying it's easy to generate this amount of business is not telling you what they had to do first in order to get to that point.
and that was just like Frederick's talk. It was a 20-year success story. It didn't happen overnight. He wasn't like approached and they're like, hey man, like you're this cool European guy. Do you want to like host this show? $1 million listing. He actually went out. He shot the promo for that. He made a whole season by himself, took it to Bravo, got rejected. And they called him 3 years later. Like, okay, now we're ready to do this show. But like you have to set yourself up for that success. It's not just given to you. It doesn't just fall in your lap. He was on the grind in New York for so long, and then it's cool to hear how fast it grew when it finally got traction.
I think what I was trying to portray. I'm sorry. I think I might have miscommunicated. The content that he's creating, that he's giving individuals, seems like it's making it easier for a lead or for a potential person who's buying or selling a home. He makes it as easy as possible for those individuals. That's what I was taking away from it. Not that I'm not implying that you start your job when it's going to be easy. You're right. You do have to crawl over glass for it, and I agree 100,000% with that. What I'm saying is, it seems like the success that these guys are having is not that their job is easy, but they're making it easy for a potential sale. Making them trust them more. It's easier for those individuals to, you know what I'm saying? I can't even.
Yeah, it's the power of the internet, right? You now have more power for cheaper to reach people and share your message with them. And because of that, you can cultivate leads in a better way.
And then success breeds more success. Your first 10 homes that you're going to sell are going to be the hardest 10 you'll ever sell, because you're trying to convince them. You're working with nothing and trying to convince them of the world. But as time goes on, as you get a referral base, as stuff, you can actually scale to 400 with systems. And so as much as it may be a grind at first, over time, it's still going to be a grind. It's just a different grind. You're just trying to figure out how to optimize. You're trying to figure out like, what activities do I actually do that lead to ROI, and then kind of reevaluate yourself. And that was what the guy from Texas, his problem is that they were doing everything for so long, and then he eventually ran out of juice. It was like, I got to scale this back, but I still want to grow my business. So like, what am I going to build that's going to take me there, and have literally an ABC plan to kind of do it. And through I wish I could remember his quote. Do you remember, Ty? It was like through some it was something about simplicity, and I forget, but it was. They have the slide decks up on Inman. I'm gonna have to look at it.
We'll comment it in the comment below the podcast. So
fair enough.
Very cool. Well, I think if you guys have anything else you want to say, I think this was a fantastic little explanation as to what we felt about Inman. I'm kind of getting an idea of what it was like, since once again I wasn't invited, and then we could we could figure out, hopefully we go to the next one on the way. There's an Inman on the West Coast, correct?
Yeah, San Francisco Connect.
There you go. Very cool. We'll figure it out. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you guys take away something from Inman. If you guys went to Inman, if any of you did go to Inman, let us know. We'd love to hear some feedback about what you thought about it as well. And with that said, leave us a tweet, send us a message at support@EasyAgentPro.com, on the Facebook Beat Zillow group, anything, and we'll be happy to answer your questions for you. With that said, I guess we're out of here. So for everybody, goodbye. And if you folks want to say your goodbyes, feel free to.
Bye, guys.
Thanks for listening, guys.
Take care, everybody.
See ya. Thank you for listening to In the Lead. If you have enjoyed the show, be sure to subscribe on iTunes or Stitcher and leave us an honest review. For more great content, check out our blog at EasyAgentPro.com. And as always, we'll see you later.